Our legal analyst, Greg Isaacs, joins us now. Good to see you.
It's good to be here, Lori.
We are talking about the scenes that we have seen unfold over the last several days since the George Floyd death, and that is protests in the streets. Some are peaceful, some are not. Some are riots. We see looting. Let's talk about the law when it comes to the differences in these actions.
Lori, first of all, under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, you have an absolute right to free speech, to protest. The United States Supreme Court has always ruled the courts can regulate or cities the time, place, manner, but they cannot restrict the content of the speech. But Tennessee has some very strong and comprehensive laws as it relates to when a public protest, a peaceful protest, crosses that line and becomes a riot.
Let's talk about those things.
Let's talk about what a riot is.
Yes.
A very lofty legal standard. A riot is a public disturbance with tumultuous and violent conduct that poses a grave risk of substantial injury or property damage. I've never seen those type of words in a statute.
Wow. So what can happen to you?
Grave. So it sounds like what they've done, they have drawn the line, the legislature, and you can't just march and then be misconstrued as having riot. You have to be tumultuous. You have to be violent. You have to be doing things that are obvious before you cross that line. But riot is just a Class C misdemeanor. If there is substantial injury to property or bodily injury, it becomes an E felony. Also, it's against the law to impede traffic on roadways or highways. So if you had a peaceful protest, you're sitting down, blocking someone's ingress, egress to the highway, can't do it under Tennessee law. You can't disrupt public meetings. But a really interesting law in the books, and this comes into play. There's been some rumors and some chatter about Antifa, or people trying to organize violent protest and looting on Facebook.
Even talking about locations, dates.
But we have a civil disorder statute. And Lori, I wasn't aware of that until I was looking at the law this afternoon, and that is a strong crime that carries 2 to 4 years, and that just means 2 or more people get together to plan to conduct a violent or train riot or disturbance. So if you're on Facebook and you're saying we're going to get together and organize how we're going to, vandalize West Town Mall, this, that, and the other, you have committed a serious crime under Tennessee law. And if you do vandalize, you do tag something, that is vandalism. It's graded like theft. If it's significant, over $1,000, it's a felony. So everybody wants everyone to be able to exercise their First Amendment right.
Certainly.
Protest peacefully. We have that rich heritage here in East Tennessee, whether it's civil rights, nuclear weapons, rights of women, but don't take advantage of the situation and cross the line to a riot. Very strong laws in Tennessee.
Absolutely. All right, Greg, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, if you have a question for Greg, just send an email to askisaacs@wate.com, and be sure to tune in to WATE 6 on Your Side News at 5:30 every Wednesday to see if he answers any of your legal questions.